Monsanto, Hershey's. What's Hershey's doing on a list with Monsanto? You know, you must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. But really, Hershey's on a list with Monsanto? Why do they want to be in the same room on the same list as Monsanto? Does Hershey's sell genetically modified kisses? Yeah, they do. So it's interesting. We get genetically modified kisses, but it's interesting. If you go to France, Hershey's has figured out a way to take the genetic rejiggering out of the French kisses. Why can't we get kisses like they get in France? I don't understand. You should ask Hershey's. I think you should go on their website and ask them that question. Why can't we get kisses like you sell in France or in Brazil? Why is it that they in France get genetically unmodified kisses? It's just an interesting question. But what we're going to hear from the Campbell's Food and Hershey's and Coca-Cola, what's in that secret recipe from Coca-Cola? What do they keep in the vault that no one's allowed to know? A genetically modified food ingredients in Coca-Cola? Say it ain't so. Jeffrey, is it so in Mexico?
No.
No. So you can just go down, across the border, just drive a little bit, and you can get the real thing. I mean, Coke is it down there, but Coke ain't it up here anymore. I don't understand. I think you should all go on Coca-Cola's website and ask them why that is. And what are they hiding from their secret recipe? I really think we should really ask Hershey's.
Facebook page.
It bothers me. It bothers me why they're selling us genetically modified kisses. I just find that offensive. But what they're going to tell you, we're already hearing, Pam, are we already hearing that, oh my God, the sky is falling, and this Proposition 37, it's impossible to comply with. The thresholds that have been set for genetic contamination are zero. There's zero tolerance. The thresholds are impossible. The testing burdens are overwhelmingly expensive and difficult, and it's going to destroy all these poor, tiny little companies like Monsanto and Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Hershey's. It's going to just, but the thing that you would actually have to ask companies to test their products and tell us what's in their ingredients, that is such a burden, such an oppressive. How could you have done this? Except, if you read the proposition, the cabal of truth concealers who don't want you to know what's in the product, let's use Jeffrey's phrase. They're either lying to you or they can't read, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because there is actually no obligation in Proposition 37 to do testing to assay for the presence of genetically modified ingredients. So when you hear, as you will, how burdensome these testing requirements are going to be, either they can't read or they're lying to you, and you are entitled to disbelieve everything you hear from them because you believe they've lied to you about other things that are important. And when you hear from this confederacy of concealers, which we're already hearing, that the zero tolerance in Proposition 37 is impossible. By the way, there is an irony to this. The irony that the argument that it's not fair to require companies to have no genetically modified ingredients in their food, and it's not a fair proposition to have zero tolerance because we've contaminated the entire food chain, and it's not fair that you would expect these poor companies to have no genetically modified ingredients. I actually think there should be zero tolerance. That's my belief. I can disclose my bias. I'm an organic farmer. I'm a board member of Greenpeace. I actually say hell no to GMOs. So I'd like this proposition to have had zero tolerance for the presence of any genetically modified ingredient, except that that is not in the proposition anywhere. There are no testing requirements imposed on a manufacturer, and there is no zero tolerance. There are no thresholds set up whatsoever with respect to the presence of genetically modified ingredients in foods. This is not a content proposition. This is a process proposition. It's actually so simple to comply with. The fact that the proposition doesn't require any testing and doesn't require any thresholds being satisfied. It is a kinder, gentler way to introduce the public in California to the idea of genetically modified ingredients. If we have a cavity, which is the hole in information that we are suffering from in California, there's this hole, this void. Proposition 37 is not a root canal. It's dental floss. It's very gentle. And I applaud you for drafting something, well, whoever did it, the drafting committee, but you inspired it. So whoever drafted this, as a former recovering lawyer, now organic farmer whose brain has been baked in the tropical sun, I look at this and say very, very gentle, easy to comply with. I also ran a multinational, multi-million-dollar dietary supplement company. I know what it's like to be certified under the organic standards, under biodynamic standards. I know what it's like to be responsible, for example, under a different California proposition, Proposition 65. Companies that are responsible know what it's like to live in a world where consumer health and fair marketing practices are required. I look at Proposition 37 and my judgment is this is easy. This should be not an onerous burden on anyone in the supply chain. So the reason why I'm telling you all of this is you all feel it in your hearts. You know it in your soul on the strength of Jeffrey's work and the work of so many that you want the information. I am telling you right now that if you read Proposition 37 and if your neighbors read it, they will be led to an inescapable conclusion that this is an easy, simple, inexpensive way to comply with a fundamental sense of fairness to tell the consumer, but it does not create an onerous burden, and it should not introduce a cost in the system that is in any way a matter of concern or alarm. I mean, these True Bars, which I'm sure, if they're here, must tell the truth, they already have a label, and they already have packaging. Some other bar, which let's call it the untrue bar. If the untrue bar wants to deliver something which is unnatural, then they'll have to put a gentle disclaimer. Notice, this may result in part from genetic engineering, and they already have a package on the untrue bar. True bar doesn't need to say that. But the untrue bar, here's the package. How much does it cost to spray a little bit more ink on the bottom of this package? So do not be misled, and tell your neighbors and your friends not to be misled by the alarms that come from the witness whom, according to the California civil jury instructions, you believe has already lied to you about things that aren't important. Thank you very much.